With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo, and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.
Hold on 1 second. Let me get these horns together. All right, man.
What's up, man?
What's going on? This is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B. All right, yo. Before I forget, because I said I'd do it, I got to shout out the homeboy Reginald Nobles for the sweatshirt. Nice and comfortable. He's got a clothing line. I'm sure Ant will post his Instagram because I don't know it by heart. But okay, yeah, you got yours too. You got the back.
That's the back of it. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Shout out to Reg, man. But yeah, man. So we just finished watching a football game.
You know what? They should do more of that. It was sort of like the basketball in the bubble. Mm-hmm. Like the afternoon games, it's a good look, even though you like at work or whatever. But like you come home, it's right on, man.
I think that they should probably look into like the night before Thanksgiving, or like if New Year's is on or Christmas is on on Thursday, you know, play that game on Christmas Eve. You know what I'm saying? Something like that where, you know, people are home, people will be able to come to the games, you know, things like that. I liked it. I mean, and it won me a fantasy game, so I'm cool.
Oh man, I don't even want to talk about fantasy this week. I think you beat me.
Yeah, I did.
I had a lot. I didn't have a lot riding on this game. In another league that we're in, it was over pretty early. Deshaun Watson put me in one of the biggest fantasy holes I've ever seen. So I was pretty much out of it from the beginning. But yeah. So before we talk football, I got to get your take on the Mike Tyson, Roy Jones fight. What were your thoughts?
You want to start on that fight or the other fight?
Well, let's start on that fight and then we'll move to the other fight.
So the Tyson Roy Jones fight, it was better than what I thought it was going to be. Tyson looked in shape. He looked like he could go 12 rounds. Roy Jones looked winded after one round, but I thought that it was a pretty good showing. It was entertaining. It wasn't. I think that Snoop helped that production immensely. I think that he was the star of the night, aside from Nate Robinson. But I think that Snoop was the star of the night, and because they were able to be so raw and candid, that it was a good look. And again, I thought that Tyson had something or has something with this League of Champions, League of Legend of whatever it is, League of Legends or something like that.
You know what? I definitely concur. Looking at it, I had the feeling that it was like bootleg, but it wasn't bootleg. You know what I mean? Like it was. It came across as cheesy, but then it was like real. You know what I mean? So it really was enjoyable. I do got a question for you, and I thought Mike Tyson looked phenomenal too. Would you be interested in seeing Evander Holyfield versus Tyson?
It depends. Is Evander Holyfield in shape? Is he in better shape than Roy Jones? Because I think Roy Jones looked terrible physically.
He's 59.
Who's 59?
Evander Holyfield.
I mean, if he's in shape, I mean, Tyson's what, 54?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. Now it depends. Is it going to be an exhibition or is it going to be a real fight?
So
like,
he challenged.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to have a real fight. I think he's still a little pissed off.
Yeah, he is. And he said it. And he said that they should end it on the trilogy. And pretty much, he's called him out. Tyson, to my knowledge, has not responded yet, but it's interesting. I do agree with what you're saying that Tyson is on to something. It's sort of like that Big Three feel, that maybe the guys can't go through a rigorous NBA season, but you still want to see, you still want to hold on to the greats and watch them perform. And clearly, I mean, Tyson, he hadn't boxed in 15 years, but everybody tuned in. People tuned in.
He's a draw.
He's a draw, yeah.
And when you see something like, because initially you're like, man, this probably gonna be some fluky looking crazy type stuff. But when you saw it, it was like, oh, all right. And I almost had the feel of, remember back in the day when Tyson fights and everybody would gather around for pay-per-views and Tyson fights and things of that nature. It was something like that, and it had that feel. And those type of feels are enjoyable. Those are enjoyable. So Holyfield Tyson, people are going to tune in because of their history and things of that nature. People are going to tune in.
So you know what made this fight good? It was the undercards. The undercards leading up to the fight were all, I thought, exciting. Nate Robinson, well, how do you feel about him?
Word on the street is that he literally just woke up like a little while ago. So,
oh man,
it was bad, man. It was bad, and it, again, I say Snoop made it even funnier. When he was singing after he got knocked out, but he had some good advice. It was, no
defense.
Yeah, you feel like, jab and step back. He did the same thing like 4 times in a row, like just trying to rush with his head down. And it's like, yo, what are you doing? It was all jokes aside. It was pretty embarrassing. It was pretty embarrassing because that looked like a gimmick. You know what I'm saying? The Tyson Roy Jones didn't look like a gimmick. That and all the other matches looked, legit. That fight, that fight looked like a gimmick. And it was kind of embarrassing.
So this is the thing I couldn't figure out when I was watching it. It's like, Nate Robinson, do you need money? Like is something going on? Because it's like 1 minute like he's playing basketball, then the next minute he's playing football, and the next minute he's in the Big Three, and then the next minute you're out there boxing, and it's just like, I was like, man,
he play football. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he tried out. I want to say he was with the Seahawks. Yeah, he made it pretty far too. I think he made it down to the last cut. So it just before he even walked out, I was thinking to myself, I was like, hey, where would you place him as one of the greatest athletes of all time? And then he got knocked out, and I was just kind of like,
so much for that.
Not so much. Yeah, not so much, but definitely just doing a lot, man.
And thinking of that. So the Big Three, I'm not mad at the Big Three because he plays basketball. He's a basketball player. The football thing, I wasn't really mad at that either. But this Saturday, it was like, come on, man, like you look bad, and for him to get knocked out like that, I know the people that he said he was dedicating that to was like, nah, don't add me in there.
I get on that, fam. Get on that.
So I think that I want to see him in the interview. Maybe we could, make a couple calls, because I want to know, like, what now? Is he bored? Like, once he retired from the NBA, if he officially retired, I don't even know if he officially retired from the NBA. What is next? Because he needs to do something like to occupy his time. Because right now it's just like, man, it ain't looking good.
Yeah. He's a funny guy. But anyway, basketball is about to kick off. Oh, you know what? I'll hold that thought. We just watched the Steelers Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
What were your thoughts in that game?
My thoughts are what they were before the game last week, and a few weeks before that the Steelers are just a little bit overrated. I think that the Steelers are overrated because I understand rivalry and I understand everything. Steelers, Ravens is always a dogfight, but the Ravens were decimated. They didn't have a starting quarterback, ended up not even having their second string quarterback. They were missing other pieces, other key pieces, where you look at it, the Steelers, this game should have been at least a 20, 30-point game, right? And I saw the Steelers have a ton of drops. I saw them not convert on 3rd and short all game, so it was like, you can't beat this decimated team in your division, but you expect to beat the Bills or the Chiefs or any other of the top teams in the AFC. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I think that they probably will lose to the Bills and they'll probably lose to the Browns. I know you don't want to hear me say that, but I think that they'll be playing the Browns fully loaded, and week 17, the Browns are going to have something to play for, and the Steelers may not as much. But as of right now, I mean, the Browns are what? They're
8-3.
Yeah, they're 3 games out of the division. I don't think they're going to win a division, but I mean, they're gonna have their hands full. Nick Chubb is back, and I think that plays. Nick Chubb didn't play the first time, and I think that's going to play a huge part.
I'm with you with the Buffalo, the Bills. I mean, Browns. They're 8-3, right? So the record is what it is. I mean, you can't discredit a team that's 8-3. Maybe if they were 5-3 or they were 6-3, then I'd say, I'd be stubborn and say they're not that good. But at 8-3, you're a legitimate team. Mm-hmm. Are they capable of beating the Steelers? I don't know, because one thing that I do see in the Steelers is they have a solid defense, mm-hmm. and that offense can turn it on at any minute. Now, the offense looked bad today, and it didn't. It has games to where they don't live up to their potential, mm-hmm. but if they get going with all those receivers, I mean, they've got all the weapons at receiver. We don't give, and I don't know if I said this last week, but we don't give Mike Tomlin and that Steelers organization enough credit for developing receivers. I know Mike Tomlin played receiver in college, and I don't know if that has to do with his eye for talent at receiver, but I mean, it's sort of like with the Shanahans, right? They always find like running backs no matter what. That's how that Steeler team is with receivers. I mean, it's crazy. It doesn't matter. Okay, you could. I'll even go back to Mike Wallace or Antonio Brown or Santonio Holmes. Like, it doesn't matter who they lose. There's somebody that's going to come right behind them. We were talking offline. Juju Schuster. Last year he was the number 1 receiver. This year he looks like the 3rd, the 4th option on that team.
He's the old man in the wide receiver room.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I agree. I agree 100%. Their eye to find receivers is impeccable. Because I just thought once AB left, because Schuster did have a down year last year, but my God, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson.
Got James Washington there. Claypool is I mean, he's a heck of a receiver. And all these guys are young. They're younger than Schuster. I mean, it's wild. And I'll even give Big Ben props. He's getting rid of the ball faster. He's not taking as many hits as he has been, which is smart on the organization's behalf, because they have put together and they know he's towards the end of his career. So they've put together a bunch of guys around him where it's 1-2, get it out. 1-2, get it out. You know what I'm saying? So, that's the organization. And again, Mike Tomlin is one of my favorite coaches. I would love to have him in Dallas, but I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, man, it's just crazy, man.
So I got one question, and it's COVID related. Okay, so we watch basketball go through their season, watch baseball go through their season, watch hockey go through their season.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the way the NFL has handled like the games and the overall, just I guess the process or the pandemic or playing in a pandemic?
Actually, I think they've done a pretty good job. I think that I was for them playing. I always felt like they would finish the season. And right now it's testing everything. That this is the time where it's like, we knew that the it was going to start trending back, trending up, and now we're seeing them, tighten up their protocol even more, and I still believe that the season is going to end. I think that they've done a good job with the games. I will say I thought that this game was going to get either postponed or canceled. I thought after when they moved it from Thursday to Sunday, I was like, all right, that's cool. When they moved it from Sunday to Tuesday, I was like, dang. But when they moved it to was it Monday or Tuesday? But when they moved it to Wednesday, I thought that I said, well, they clearly couldn't move it anymore. But I think that they would have moved it one more day to a Thursday game again if they had to. But then that would have been enough. Would have been enough, and they probably would have just made it a +1 to the end of the season, or they would have just canceled it altogether. I believe if they would have postponed, I don't think they was going to cancel the game. They was going to find a way to have it. But I think they've handled it as good as they possibly could. I don't think that there's much more that they could do. You know what I'm saying?
This will throw you off, and I was as skeptical as anybody, but you're right. If you look at it from just a holistic view, they've played every game on time. Not on time, but they finished out each week, right?
Right.
So they haven't had to really put. They've pushed back games, but they've made up all the games.
Right.
So we're going into week 13, to where ultimately you've got 4 more weeks left. They're at the finish line. I also one thing I'll commend them on is kind of the motto that they've adopted, to where we don't care who's out, you still got to play.
Right.
You've got to kind of like just figure it out. I mean, this game. I will say this about this game: Baltimore played a good game considering the pieces that they were missing. If they would have had those pieces, I think most people that would just watch that game, you could argue that they could have beaten the Steelers. I mean, I know it's a shoulda, coulda, woulda type scenario, but for them to not have those pieces, that they sure put on a good performance. I mean, the Denver game. I mean, my God, the quarterback was on the practice squad as a receiver, and it was like, you know what, you got to play. I was like, God, that's. But they figured it out.
Did you hear what Jerry Jones said?
Yeah, you know what? I want to get into that because that's my winner of the week. So we're just gonna keep it rolling with that.
So all right. So
yeah, recount what he said, and it'll make sense.
Let's wait. We can wait.
No, we might as well discuss it now because I wanted to kind of get into it anyway.
Yeah, but if that's your one, all right, let's go. So he pretty much said that he doesn't feel sorry for the Broncos, and that them not having them starting what's the guy's name?
DiNucci.
No. Them starting Hinton and not having any of those 3 quarterbacks is equivalent to the Cowboys starting Ben DiNucci.
That's why he's my winner of the week. First of all, it's a huge difference, right? Hinton hadn't played quarterback since his freshman year of college, where he only started 2 games. And obviously that coaching staff at whatever college he went to, saw something and moved him to receiver and was like, nah, yeah, quarterback's not it. So he hadn't played quarterback, hadn't took a snap, found out Saturday that he was going to be the starting quarterback, hadn't played quarterback all season, hadn't practiced playing quarterback, and he's thrown in there. Jerry Jones had a week to figure out. Well, first, let's start it here, right? He drafted him as a quarterback. This guy has been playing quarterback all year or all season, all through. Who cares if it was a smaller season and you didn't have preseason or any of that type of stuff. He still was playing quarterback. He's been playing quarterback all his life. Mm-hmm. And you put that guy in the game, the guy that you've chosen, that you've had the opportunity to shy away from, to grab another quarterback, to do whatever you wanted to do, but that's who you rolled with, and you compare the performance. I was like, Jerry Jones, you can't call him an idiot because he's got more money than I got. But sometimes I do question his thought process. Like, why would you say something so stupid? I mean, you could defend him. Go ahead and defend him.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead and defend your boy, man.
All right, so here's where I stand on that. I think that I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I'm not going to say that you're wrong. But I totally understand what he's saying. I totally understand what he's saying. And
DiNucci look like hot garbage out there.
Here's the thing. Hold on, hear me out. I think that, yes, oh yeah, he looked like trash. The thing is, yes, Hinton didn't play quarterback since his freshman year. I understand that. DiNucci, played quarterback at JMU, and that's fun. But again, DiNucci he had practice that week, right? But he had really no experience. He was thrown in there in the Washington game, and we saw how that turned out. But he had no experience as a starter. Hinton had no experience as a starter. Does Hinton know the offense? Probably not. I mean, and DiNucci probably, because as we know, as a third string quarterback, you're getting no reps. You get no reps in the offense. No, you can write the stuff on the board all you want. As a third string quarterback, you're getting no reps. You may get reps as a scout team guy, but you're not getting any reps as a Cowboys quarterback. So that plays a part as well. And I don't think he was saying that that
he was comparing them to being trash. It was like he was taking an underhanded shot at him.
It was worse towards DiNucci than it was to Hinton or the Broncos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, DiNucci sucks. He stunk. He was terrible.
Yeah, but does the owner have to keep saying it? I mean, we all know he was terrible, but
he was probably asked a question about that, and I believe the question was, should the Broncos have had more time, or should have their game been postponed, and how does he feel about them having to play without one of their quarterbacks in the quarterback room? And I personally don't think I agree with Jerry Jones.
Okay, so this is what he said though. This is what he said. He said, well, they should have been more safer. They should have practiced social distancing. It was pretty irresponsible to have them all in one room.
So that part I don't know. But I know that
that's what he said though.
Yeah, but so here's the thing: none of the quarterbacks, and they all tested negative, but none of the quarterbacks had their mask on, and they were in close contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID. So that's who should be the winners. Are the quarterbacks of the Broncos? Why? They're the reason why they didn't have any quarterbacks.
You're missing my whole entire point. it's not about what happened to the Denver Broncos. It's the fact that he tried to compare himself when he made that decision. He made a terrible decision. Him, Mike McCarthy, Mike Nolan, Stephen Jones, all those.
He didn't say who to play.
Well, whoever it is that drafted this kid, that played this kid, those were their decisions. The Broncos didn't have a decision. They ended up.
Scott, they did have a decision. Wear your damn mask. They listen.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So that's the reason why the NFL told them that they could play. Fine. We have to move on from that. And you're right. They should have wore their mask. But what I'm getting at is that they didn't have the option of having another quarterback in the wings. The NFL say, you know what? Tough break. You don't have all your quarterbacks. You still got to play the game. So they were forced to pull a receiver. It's not about fault. It happened.
But
it's not about fault.
Irresponsible, Scott. And I think you're trying to brush it. That was totally irresponsible.
It doesn't matter that it was irresponsible. The fact that they had to do it, and then somebody is sitting there trying to compare that situation to his situation, it's two different situations.
So he wasn't comparing. He was comparing the.
He did compare it.
Listen, he was comparing the not them not having masks. He was comparing them. Nobody should feel sorry for them. That performance and hitting playing quarterback is equivalent to DiNucci playing quarterback. Terrible. That was it. It wasn't. But again, they don't. The Broncos aren't in that predicament, and you don't even have this situation if those guys follow the protocols. They didn't follow the protocols that have been set, and now so whose fault is it? It ain't Hinton's fault. It ain't the Broncos coach's fault. It's those quarterbacks.
But nobody is asking anybody to feel sorry for the Broncos. But it's still a different scenario.
That was the question. That was the question.
And he had the audacity to compare it to DiNucci. Why couldn't he just say, you know what? Nobody feels sorry for them. They put themselves in that position. It is what it is.
And he clearly isn't fond of Ben DiNucci. He's not. He's not fond.
It's the second shot he's took at him. The first one, he was like, yeah, maybe the lights were a little bit too bright for him. It's like, dang, okay. And then, so it's safe to say DiNucci will not be in a Cowboys uniform next year.
I don't know, but if I was a betting man, I would probably take that bet.
He might be coaching high school football next year.
No, so I think so. Here's the thing: he was he was a 7th round pick. His first, he's thrown into the fire, and against a division rival, right? Not only are you missing, not only are just 2 weeks prior, the heart of the team was taken out when Dak got hurt, but you had I think at that time 3 linemen missing, 3 all pros missing. So to put a 7th rounder, you're not going to expect him to do well. I didn't expect him to do that bad because you still have some weapons, but it just it just wasn't good. He didn't have any experience. He's just not ready. He wasn't ready yet.
I don't think he's cut out to be an NFL quarterback.
I mean, we don't. I mean, that's unfair. We can't say that. I mean, he played 1 game in a quarter. He played 5 quarters of football. I don't think
he looked horrible. Horrible. He looked like that guy in Buffalo. What's his name? Peterman. Peterman.
He didn't look that bad because he didn't throw 4 interceptions in a quarter. Peterman is terrible. No, that is the worst quarterback in NFL history.
So you would rather have DiNucci than Peterman?
Absolutely, Peterman is absolutely terrible.
Oh nah, yo.
Hold on. Here's the thing, Scott. Here's the thing. Not only did Peterman have off seasons, he had his off seasons. He's had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to perform, and he stunk at every opportunity. But DiNucci had an offseason where he didn't have an offseason. They didn't have OTAs. They didn't have anything. And he's a rookie. And he's a rookie, and he's a 7th rounder. So to compare him to Peterman is not fair. No.
So let me ask you this: you taking DiNucci or Wentz? Because Wentz playing like DiNucci too.
No, I'll take Wentz. But with that being said, let's all stop the Wentz and Dak comparisons. Like I've been saying,
yeah, let's go.
Dak is a quarterback, and everybody's like, you're crazy. You're just saying that because you're a Cowboys fan. No, Dak is clearly a better quarterback. He's clearly a better quarterback. He stays healthy more. Yes, I mean that's tough to say after he had injury like this, but this is the first time Dak's really gotten hurt. You know what I'm saying? And it was a flukish type injury. Carson Wentz is good. Don't get me wrong, he's good, and I'm not gonna say he deserves all the blame, but Dak Prescott is a better quarterback.
Yeah, I don't even think anybody at this point is going to argue that. Carson Wentz is fighting for his job. I don't think they'll give his job away just because of the money aspect of it, but people are starting to really question whether or not he should even be the starting quarterback. I think with the money, they're going to continue to go with him, and even next year they'll go with him too. I don't think the coach will lose his job or anything. Peterman.
He shouldn't.
No. He's going to keep his job, and he'll keep rolling with Wentz. Tom Brady. All right, so I want to apologize because last week I was on Bruce Arians, pretty tough about calling these stupid plays. Come to find out, it's Tom Brady calling the plays. So, what are your thoughts on what's going on in Tampa Bay? Because Bruce Arians, the only thing he's really doing is calling his quarterback out in the media. It seems like he's not making decisions on what personnel to bring in. He's not calling the plays. What's going on down there, man?
Your guess is as good as mine. So Tom Brady. So I'll say this. I do think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to somehow find a way to right the ship. I think the good thing for them is that I don't think that they have any more primetime games. I think I will have to look, but I don't think they have any more primetime games, and that's when they're playing at their worst. When they're the only show on, they look terrible. And I mean they were playing the Chiefs, and you're gonna be hard pressed to find. A team that's better than the Chiefs or that could stop the Chiefs.
My God, Tyreek Hill. I mean, my God. Before we get there,
let me just say this. I think that there needs to be some sort of meeting. The owner or the general manager needs to have some sort of meeting with Brady and Arians. They need to, whatever it is that they have going on, they need to clear the air. Then there needs to be their OC is Leftwich. Leftwich needs, which he probably has no say so. He has no say so on this team. I mean, but I think that he needs to call a meeting with Brady and those receivers, mainly Mike Evans, because for whatever reason they are not on the same page. And I understand bringing Brady in and doing all these things. I personally think, and I may be reaching here, but I think they could have had the same exact record with Jameis.
Oh, absolutely.
With Jameis, because Jameis had, I think one more year in that system, and with his ability, I think that what are they?
They're 7-4, I believe.
7-4. So yeah, absolutely. He could have because they lost a lot of close games last year, and we know, you lose those close games one year, you're gonna win them the following year. So
the other thing to that is all the pieces that they've surrounded that team with that Jameis didn't have. Yeah, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette. I mean, the list.
They didn't have a running game last year. Ronald Jones was there, but he came on later in the year, and by that time they were done. So so we got people that saying Latoya said she's not sure about that, and Joey said hell no. I disagree with him. I think that Jameis right now, because Tom Brady can't throw the ball downfield. He can't. And Arians is asking him to throw the ball downfield. He can't throw the ball downfield. He doesn't have the arm strength anymore to stretch the field. He doesn't. And neither does Drew Brees, but we'll get to those Saints in a second. But Tom Brady doesn't have the arm strength to throw the ball down the field.
So let me ask you this, right? If they're out the first round of the playoffs and you're Tom Brady, do you come back?
Yeah, you're getting paid all that money. You better come back. Where's he going to go?
I'm just to retirement. I mean, do you retire or you just stay?
Nah, I think he'll come back. Tom Brady's too much of a competitor to go out like that.
Nah, he'll come back, but I don't think he has a choice. Nah, we ain't disrespecting Tom right now.
No,
facts are the facts.
So I want to know what people had the Bucks, what they had their record as. I had them at a 12-4, 11-5 team. You know what I'm saying? I had them 12-4, 11-5. I thought that they were, and they still could get there. I don't think they're gonna win out, but I mean, 11-5 is a really good. They're in a tougher division, so it ain't.
I thought they could have been a 13-3 team. I mean, you look at that defense. You're bringing in a Hall of Fame quarterback. You're bringing in. You've got 2 Pro Bowl receivers that's already there. You're bringing in arguably when he played, he was at least top 3 receiver. That was just a year removed. You're bringing in one of the greatest, even though he's a year removed, you're bringing in one of the greatest tight ends of all time. You're bringing in top 10. I wouldn't say he was a top 10 back, but top 15 running back to pair off with a back that you've invested a lot of draft. He was a round 2 draft pick, Ronald Jones.
I forget, something like that.
Yeah, so you're pairing him with them, and then you've got a pretty decent coach in Bruce Arians. You got one of the most underrated and underutilized this year offensive coordinators and Byron Leftwich. You have Todd Bowles with that defense. You have all the pieces to be great. And I think
that is
huh?
I said,
yeah, that's everything. That's everything that you could ask for. And I forget the offensive lineman they got in the draft. That was just a steal that fell into their lap. You have everything you need to be successful. But like you said too, it's a chemistry thing. Mm-hmm. What made the Patriots so great for so long was the owner, the GM, the coach, and the quarterback were all in sync with each other. No matter what was going on behind the scenes, they had a united front to where they all understood the vision, and then they all went out there and they executed that vision. Clearly, right now, we're not seeing that in Tampa Bay. We're seeing ownership, or it could be the GM that's saying, you know what? It's now or never. You're seeing a coach that's kind of like, you know what? Have I lost my power a little bit? Is this really my football team? Because the stuff that he's saying in the media, he's very critical of Brady, which, okay, people will say that he is coaching him like any other coach would coach him. All right, that's fine. But was it really necessary to leak out that he's not the one calling the plays? Like, what is he gaining from that?
Is he the one that said that?
Because
say that again.
Nah, go ahead.
No. I'm saying, is he the one that said that? Or
yeah, he's the one that said that.
I mean,
You know what it sounds like to me?
what?
He wants everybody to understand that if things go south, this
Mm-hmm.
is not his fault. I'm just calling it how I see it. I mean, it's no reason to tell anybody that you're not the one calling the plays. That's all on Tom Brady, unless you're trying to paint the picture that, hey, don't blame me for the sorry play calling. It's the Hall of Famer.
I'll say this: if that's the case, then he will lose his job. If that's the case, because I want to, because I didn't hear it, so or see it. But if that's the case, if that's actually the case, then yes, Arians is gone. Because, but again, I don't know that. I'm going off of what you're saying, but if they lose. So here's the thing: the only way I feel he's going to lose his job is if they don't make the playoffs, and I think they're going to make the playoffs. So I think Arians is going to be there next year. But if they lose in the first round, I don't think anything's going to happen. I just think you probably won't have Rob Gronkowski next year. I don't know if you'll have Antonio Brown. They'll make some changes, but it ain't gonna be a lot. It won't be a lot of changes. The defense, they're hit or miss. I think they just need to get more depth.
So I'll say this.
But
They're on bye this week. So it's a perfect opportunity. I don't know if they need to go camping together, fishing, or sit in the crib and have a day with each other. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever Tom Brady can invite everybody over and have a sleepover with him, AB, and all of them. Whatever they do, whatever they need to do. Mm-hmm. But when they come back, if they fumble and mess this opportunity up, there are going to be some people gone. It's simple as that.
It won't be the coach. It won't be the coach.
It could be the coach. If ownership is all in, right, and they've went all in because like we've mentioned, they've gotten Tom Brady everything they can get him, and they know that window is closing. Mm-hmm. And if they feel like that Bruce Arians is not the right guy to lead them, they will get rid of him and bring somebody else in that they feel like is the right.
But Tom Brady only has 1 year left. I would like if you feel like Tom Brady and Arians don't mix, and Tom Brady only signed a 2-year contract, so that would be dumb to fire Arians. The thing that I would think that management would say, let's give it one more shot, because
it depends how it ends up. If like you're saying, if they go out the first round or they don't make it to the playoffs, which I don't think is going to happen. I think that's a little bit. I think they're going to make the playoffs. They should win one game. But if they fail like that, oh yeah, those questions have to be. It'll be a Doc Rivers situation to where the ownership will look at it like, you know what, we went all in. Now we got to get a new voice in here. We have to get somebody that could seal this deal.
It'd be different if they had a younger quarterback. They have Tom Brady, who's on his way out. He signed a 2. And it'd be different if Tom Brady had like a 4-year deal. You know what I'm saying? Then it'd be like, oh, all right. But he has 1 year left. He has one, and I don't even know how many years Arians has left on his contract. But I know it was more than 1 year. He probably has like 3 or 4 years left on his contract. They're not firing, and they're not going to pick Tom Brady over. And this is going to be the one time where they're going to take the coach over the player.
All right. So look, we'll revisit it.
Okay.
After the season.
Okay.
We'll revisit it. One of us is going to be wrong. One of us is going to be right. And we'll leave it there.
No, because I don't think we both think they're going to make it to the playoffs. And so hold on. So you think that they make it to the playoffs and lose first round that they're going to fire him?
Yeah. I think if they don't get this figured out and they don't look as competitive as they should be on paper, they're going to get rid of.
I would say that's a hot take. I don't think. I think the only way that Arians gets fired is if they go 7-9 and lose the rest of their games. I don't think that, and even then, I don't think he's going to get fired. I just don't. But you're not going to see. I mean, we got to think the NFC. First of all, the NFC is tougher than the AFC, right? His division that he's in now is tougher than his division that he just came from. Clearly, by leaps and bounds. You know, just having one more playoff team, and you can't even count out Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta's not going to make the playoffs, but Atlanta ain't no pushover, you know. And yeah, man, I don't know. That's a hot take. I'm sorry. That's
you think that's a hot take? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I said it first.
Yeah, you said you're the only one I've heard say that.
I said it first. I just see it. If he can't get this job done, I can see them letting him go.
So what saves his job? Getting out of the first round?
It really depends how competitive they are. I think if they go to the NFC Championship game,
they just lost by 3 points to the defending champions.
Yeah, but he's got to get out there.
Go ahead.
So here's the deal, right? He's not making it easier for them, and they're about to mess up this opportunity. New Orleans is going to run away with that division. Tampa Bay may make the playoffs, but if they don't, they'll make the playoffs, right? But they're not going to have home field advantage. So what you're talking about is you're talking about a quarterback that's 43 years old, and you're asking him to go on the road to win 3 games. You know, and we're not talking about like easy games. You know, we'll look at like Seattle. The Packers would be there.
So he could be.
You're asking, huh?
He could be both, and so is 7. I don't know if they're going to switch it to 8, but
he could beat both those teams. But if he doesn't,
that's not saying much. Those teams are you know, Seattle has a bad defense. Green Bay, I mean, they you know, Green Bay hasn't beaten anybody with a winning record this year. You know what I'm saying? And didn't they beat Green Bay already? They beat the crap out of Green Bay. Come on, man.
Yeah, but you see them at Lambeau Field, it's a different ball game. And then you know we talk about the Seattle defense. That Seattle defense, okay, yeah, they're terrible, right? Mm-hmm. But you remember them old Colts defenses that were with Peyton Manning. All it takes, and you're a defensive coach, it just takes the defense to click at the right time. It's not about how you were all year. If they could come together and figure it out playoff time, I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, hey, I'm just saying, we'll see.
Scott,
I hope he doesn't lose his job.
You're saying that Arians is going to get fired. No, that's not going to happen.
So hold on. It was a caveat, right? I'm not saying he's going to get fired no matter what. I'm saying that if they continue on the path that they're on and Tom Brady continues to look like crap and the team continues to look like crap, at the end of the year, if they go out the first round of the playoffs, they're more than likely going to look for another coach. They're not going to sit there and have that story continue to play out because they've invested too much in that team. That's what I'm saying.
Have they really invested too much? Like, how have they invested too much? Like, Gronk is getting like the minimum. AB is getting the minimum. Tom Brady's getting paid, but he only has 1 year left. Mike Evans even got his new deal? I think Mike Evans got his money. Godwin hasn't gotten his money yet. Brake hasn't. I mean, it is what it is. OJ Howard is hurt, but he's still on his rookie deal. What really have they? I mean, they got some pieces on the defense, but all their key pieces are like on short term. What have they? They're not over the cap. So no, man. No.
So let me ask you this before we get into basketball. You don't think no other coach could do a better job?
Tell me who. Because I tell you this. Let them fire Arians. You know what's gonna happen? They're gonna fucking excuse my language. they're gonna need to get rid of Mike McCarthy and hire Arians. They better hire Arians before he takes off his little hat and says for the press conference. Let them fire Bruce Arians. I bet you he'll be hired before the day's out.
Probably would.
You're crazy. Like San Francisco may fire their coach before Tampa Bay fires their coach.
We'll see how it plays out. Like I said, it's a what if scenario, but I do think I'm a lot.
I think that's a terrible take. I'm sorry.
It's your opinion.
This is 2 weeks going, and we're still on this. I think
that's your opinion. That's your opinion.
I just don't. I don't see it. I just don't want it to come home. Look at this comment. Look at this craziness.
Giants to the Super Bowl.
He's just trolling. I'm not even gonna, but
that's not a crazier take than what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, that's my part.
$85 million. LeBron James, $85 million, man. Congratulations. You get some horns for that, man.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I got you. I got you right now. Yeah. I'm pretty good at math, but what did he get? 153? Was it 153 initially? Plus 85? Jesus. That's a lot.
Yeah.
$238 million ultimately.
Well deserved.
He's still underpaid.
Yeah. So look, basketball in 3 weeks, training camps December 11th. Mm-hmm. I guess the NBA came out with their protocol rules. It looks like that if somebody tests positive, they have to sit out for 10 days. And they've got to practice alone for, I believe, 3 days or 2 days, depending
like solitary confinement, man.
Yeah. Nah, it was some pretty well, it didn't seem crazy. Mm-hmm. It just, I guess, watching what's going on with football, a football player to be out 14 days, that's 2 games. Mm-hmm. Basketball, that 10 days could really be probably 6-7 games, or if it's 2 or 3 players, it can really shape the outlook of a game. It's going to be tough. And especially like if you're a team and let's say 2 of your stars get COVID, I mean, it can really have different, it's just different than football.
I'll say this. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But I do think that I think that basketball players, this is from what I think. I think they're more, I don't want to say considerate. I think they're more, I hate saying this like this, but I think, let me go NBA. I think NBA players are more responsible than NFL players, if that makes sense. I think that I don't want to say it like that, but I think that they'll do a better job with the COVID situation than the NFL players, mainly because they have that experience. They have the experience of, but even though they were in the bubble, there were probably plenty of times where someone could have went off site, and if somebody did go off site, they were done for the most part. So I think that they won't go that extra mile of like being irresponsible. Yeah, I do think that Phil, I just said so. We got somebody in the comments. Yeah, so I think we just said that NBA players are more responsible than NFL players. So yeah, we'll probably see. We're going to see some positive people. We're going to see people test positive. It's inevitable, especially because we're not in the bubble this time. They're not going to be in the bubble. I don't think they're going to be in the bubble until the playoffs. So with that, I think you're going to have positive tests. What I think that the NBA should do, I think they probably should have a season 2 months. Go to December, January, February. He disagreed with my points. All right. But I think December, January they start and not necessarily an all-star break. Go half of February and take like a 2-3 week break. Just so
they're going to take a week break.
It's a week break, but I think it should be longer. I think 2 or 3 weeks, just so and come back with a little mini camp and go about the season however they're going to do it. But I think that the NBA guys they have the experience of dealing with COVID. NFL guys didn't, but I will say this: the NFL has been pretty organized, and their strategy and the way they've run things have been top notch. And just like the NBA, I think the NBA got it right during the bubble. They didn't have a lot of the season left, but I think they got that right. And I think the NFL has gotten it right the way they've handled the situations.
See, here's my look. I don't think it's more about people being more responsible. I think people just don't know. I mean, everybody that's caught COVID, I think you would agree with this. It doesn't mean that they were irresponsible. I mean, it's a lot of unknowns about it. I think like
the Broncos. But all right, go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, but you're going to have those situations in all sports, and we saw it with Lou Williams eating chicken wings at a strip club. I mean, like you're going to have these one-off situations that people aren't going to agree with. Mm-hmm. I trust the NBA and their process. And I think that they'll figure out a better way to streamline it. Mm-hmm. I just don't know if it's avoidable. And I think it would have more of an impact in the NBA than it would in the NFL because, ultimately, we just debated and we talked about missing a quarterback. That's important. Absolutely. But if somebody like LeBron or Steph or James Harden or Kevin Durant,
superstar.
If your superstar and basketball goes down, it becomes catastrophic, And I mean, I get that each team has to deal with injuries too, but you're dealing with injuries on top of that, and the fact that you could spread this virus to somebody else, to where you have 2 or 3 guys or key players out at the same time. I mean, it could derail your season. So it's going to be interesting. I have all the faith in basketball. I think they've got a good plan with the 70 games. They're going to play like the opponents back to back. So, to kind of reduce a little bit of the travel. So they've got some things that they're working on. We're still going to get the play-in games. So I think that's going to work relatively similar to how it did in the bubble. So I'm excited for the season. I'm glad that it's 3 weeks away. Like I said, training camp starts December 11th. Yeah.
No. Well, training camp started this week. It started Sunday.
Okay,
Monday.
so preseason games. That's right.
The preseason game starts on the 11th. Let's get it before you who you got in the championship, man. All right, who you got coming out the East? And this may change by December 22nd. But who you got coming out the East?
I got the Knicks coming. Now I'm just. I wanted to go with my Knicks. I got the Nets, and in the West, I got the Lakers.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
I think it's going to be box office. Kyrie and Durant versus LeBron and AD. Coming back, you gonna put the Heat hat on?
Yeah, take the stupid Nets hat off. Let's go, baby.
You got the Heat. That's a good solid pick. Solid pick.
And there's no bias. And there's no bias. I promise you, there's no bias. There's no bias. I feel like sometime during this season, the Heat are going to make a move that's going to set them up. They're going to set them up for the rest of this season and next season and season after that.
They have to. They have no choice. If they don't make a move, they won't be in the finals. I'm hearing whispers that they're trying to get Bradley Beal. I think that's a terrific move. But I think if you look at the layout of the East, a lot of teams have done a lot to improve. And it's not going to be as easy as it was in the bubble. So I think that they do need one. I think they got there. They got there. I mean, they had a little bit of resistance, but I think like it's a lot tougher teams in the East now. I mean, because you're looking at the Nets being back. Boston will probably still be right there. The 76ers are going to be better. The Hawks are going to be right there. The Pacers, I think they'll be right there. I mean, you've got a lot. The Knicks, the Wizards. I mean, Toronto is going to be right there. It's some legitimate contenders in the East. Now, the question is can one of those teams beat the Lakers, the Clippers, or Denver, or one of those teams out west? But I think the East is going to beat up on each other all year.
Oh, of course.
Milwaukee. I forgot Milwaukee too.
Yeah. So who'd you say you had coming out the West?
I got the Lakers. So I got the Nets versus the Lakers.
So I got the Nets versus the Lakers. So I think that Nets pick is a really good pick. But I think that some people think that the Heat are going to take a step back. I think that time in the bubble created a monster that the league or people in general may not be ready for, right? And I think they ultimately run the same group back with aside from a couple of other guys, but I think they're gonna make a run and edge out the Nets in the Eastern Conference. So the thing is that they play great team defense. I think that's like their staple. They play great team defense, but it's gonna be tough, because the Lakers, I think they're the best team in the league. I think the Lakers have the best team in the league, and it's gonna be if they stay healthy with what they because LeBron signed his extension today. He'll probably be signed by Friday or tomorrow, probably by the time we get off this damn call. So you'll have AD, and you got Harold, you got Schroeder, you picked up all these guys, Wesley Matthews. So you got better, and they're probably gonna sign another big before the season's out. It is really hard to say that the Lakers are not going to go back to back, yo. It's tough. I mean,
yeah,
it's tough. I mean,
it's tough, and I don't really see too much competition. One last point about the Heat, though. This is the difference between this year, last year, and this year. People see them coming. I think that they prove that they're a solid team and they're a force. So people are going to take them. They're going to take them more seriously than they did. So it's going to be a little bit tougher there. But like you said, they still got the core group. They'll be competitive. But if anybody thinks for a second that people aren't paying attention to the Heat and gunning for them in the East, it's not going to be the same path.
Right.
The Lakers, the same thing. They've got that bullseye. I thought before Klay Thompson went down that maybe the Warriors have a shot. I think Dame will come back with a chip on his shoulder. I even think Houston will figure out how to make it work, and they'll come back with a vengeance.
They got Boogie Cousins, man.
Yeah. If he comes back and if he's the Cousins that was at Golden State and he could put up the 16-8 that he was putting up in Golden State. I'm not even asking him to be the Pelicans Cousins. If he could do that, I think Westbrook and Harden can work with it.
So I keep on seeing, and maybe I ain't because I don't have my phone with me, but I've seen two people put that Westbrook was traded for John Wall, and I'm about to look it up right now.
Yep, it's official.
Oh, hold on, let me get the horns real quick. Damn, and the first round pick.
Yep, it is official. Wow.
Wow.
It's funny because I just looked at my phone and I just looked down and it's breaking news. We gotta talk about
Did that change things? Did that change things? What you got, Scott? I mean,
all right. So both of them are two of my favorite guards. I love John Wall to death, and I love Westbrook.
Damn.
I don't know if that makes Washington better. And I think it makes Houston better. From what I've been seeing, John Wall is in a phenomenal shape, and he's improved his game drastically. I really don't know how Bill. Well,
Bill may be gone. Bill may be gone. I don't know. So
I mean, John Wall wanted a fresh start. He got a fresh start. So all right. So if you're Harden, now maybe you have a little bit more leverage, right? Okay. So they trade.
Can I say something real quick? Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if you remember that a couple weeks ago, or was it last week? I said something about John Wall and Boogie Cousins teaming up again. I did say that.
We talked about it because we were talking about with the Knicks because both of them was rumored in the Knicks, and then we were talking about how it was going to be pretty much an even trade, both of them together. So if you're Harden now, do you want to stay with Houston?
I don't know.
Are you excited, or are you like just kind of like?
Because we know how good John Wall is. We know how good he is, but can he stay healthy? If John Wall stays healthy and you pair him with Boogie Cousins and Harden, I mean, you could compete. I mean, because the Rockets don't have a bad roster. So
and they've been making moves to kind of get out of the small ball era. I think they'll have a couple more pickups. And I mean, shout out to their new leadership for turning over that roster and kind of maneuvering with it. Yeah, they've done that fairly quickly. Yeah, from Harden. But I tell you what, though, if Harden stays, he probably should be mad they turned down that $50 million a year.
They'll still give it to him. They'll still give him.
Oh man,
they will still give him that extent. Because I think there were probably some conversations. There had to be conversations about Harden, getting. He may have said, "Well, show me that you can make the roster better." Or what are you gonna do? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, what?
Because that's just weird, man. It's just like you ain't just turning down $50 million just to turn down $50 million. You know what I'm saying? So they had to have some sort of conversations because Damn.
Like I said, it's one of them things, though. It's one of them trades that I don't know if it put either team over the top. Does that now make the Wizards a playoff team?
Oh, well, what? I think if they had John Wall and Bradley Beal last year, they would have been a playoff team.
Yeah. So does that instantly propel them into the playoffs? The Rockets, they were going to be a playoff team with or without John Wall, but does it make it a little bit better? I think the coach D'Antoni, it might have fit better if he had Wall and Harden versus Westbrook and Harden.
Possibly. I'll say this though. I want to see what else the Wizards. I think if the Wizards trade Bill, that just came up on my screen too.
So let me ask you before you get into that. Let's say he went to Miami. Who do you give him? What do the Wizards get back in return if they deal Bradley Beal? So
they're definitely gonna have to get picks. But the thing is, I think Memphis or OKC has they have one of Miami's picks, but it's like lottery restricted or something like that. So they will first have to get that joint unrestricted, where there's no lottery restriction. So it would be that, and there have to be like a Duncan Robinson. It's gonna have to be Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero type thing. Or they just got what's his name? So they just got Russ. So they probably wouldn't want Kendrick Nunn. But those are the three guys that are gonna be or you could get like expiring contracts like Olenek or what's the other dude, Myers Leonard, or maybe even Iguodala. Getting rid of some expiring contracts, then I guess, but they're gonna want something back for Bradley Beal. They're gonna want picks and a player. The problem is if you're trying to trade for Giannis, you're gonna need Tyler Hero's the key piece. So if you're gonna trade if you trade Tyler Hero to Washington for Bradley Beal, then what are you gonna trade for Giannis? So it's a lot of moving parts. The crazy thing is it can happen if they get a lot of help from other teams. I think it's OKC that has that pick. It's either OKC or Memphis, but I think it's OKC that has that pick. They would need help from Milwaukee and Washington will have to be willing to do that. But again, if there's somebody that can get it done, it's Pat Riley.
Yeah, I think Washington may hold tight for a second just to kind of see what they got with both of them to see if it can coexist. You're right; they instantly are a playoff team with that combination.
And they stay healthy. I think you almost look like OKC because let's be honest, the Wizards still have some pieces. Bertans is not bad. The first rounder from last year, from Gonzaga, what's his name?
Roy.
I can't knock it over or whatever. So he's good. The Brown kid, he reminds me. He's a big guy that. They got some pieces, and you mix in Bill and Russell Westbrook. Because remember, most of their team didn't go to the bubble. Most of the guys that they had in the bubble, nobody even knew who those guys were. So don't be surprised if they pick up Jamal Crawford now. But all right, man, I guess it's time for us to get out of here. There is no battle. There's no battle tonight. We need a break. We need a break. So it should be interesting, man. But I guess that's it. Damn, we broke some news on. Well, we had breaking news right before we were getting ready to get out of here, man. That was my bad.
Oh yeah, nah, you good? Yeah. All right, man.
All right, so this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B.
You out of here.
Anthony Adebayo.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com.